3 days I've spent and the 2 nights that I haven't slept worrying about how this is all going to shape up has formed itself into some playful but serious approaches to making work. What I want to punctuate the talk with very, very quickly is my own practice, and what I thought I would do is some form of, almost an act of aggression, say, let's do more of what I do, in a sort of slightly conceited way, because I'm comfortable with what I'm working on at the moment. And so here we have an out-of-focus paper boat and a more in-focus paper boat. And anyone who's been in the Museum of Modern Art in New York will know that this is one of the napkins that you get from one of the restaurants. And so this little blue paper boat has been left in MoMA. It is the Museum of Modern Art in New York, sort of one of the the greatest galleries in the Western world. And my blue paper boat still could be nestling where I hid it in the gallery. So I have work in the Gallery of Modern Art, the Museum of Modern Art in New York. So I thought we'd get up to some pranks with some of our fellow artists here. And we embarked on boat building. And so here's Jonathan, surrounded by boats, upstairs. And this is David with his boats. And at this point, what we're about to embark upon was a surreptitious wander around the building and leaving the boats in situ. So I guess it's, kind of playing on my idea of what is art, where does art reside? Does it mean anything to the guys? And these are just a little tour of the, really leaving the suggestion, where do you want to leave the boats? But Jonathan was quite protective about the boats, although he hadn't made. I did the folding because it's quite a complex process. But the designs and the colours are all through their choices. Part of the remit for this exhibition, for this residency, was that it was to incorporate all of the spaces in Trongate 103. And so a lot of the stuff you'll see here is actually residing in, here it's the Glasgow Print Studio, along with Elizabeth Blackadder and John Houston. I don't know if they would approve of such. This is us into street level gallery. Oh no, sorry, we're still in print studio there. And we're even in the workshops. These I was trying to get into the idea of the sort of poetry and the poetics behind that, whether it means anything. Perhaps it will come about in the future that these little rowboats have had some significance for them. They are static. They can be put in the river if they're properly weighted down. They will float, for a period of time. But part of the thought was I could have gone down to the river with them, but it could have been a bit nasty, the River Clyde being not so user-friendly in places. But crucially, I think the guys didn't want to leave them anywhere. And when we finally got to this stage here, this wall in the top corner, top right-hand corner, it's up about maybe 7 or 8 feet above the railings. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance, but Jonathan's support worker managed to climb up. That doesn't look particularly scary, but he managed to get up and put it on the shelf. So that's, and I think he did manage to make a slight mess of the wall on the way up, but that is located in situ in that spot. There's also some shot outside, we didn't realise, but it's outside the ladies' toilet, so they've already been spotted in situ. And also, you can't really see here, but on this is, oh, you can see it's Jonathan actually leaving one of the boats outside the project room. And there it is. And this was David doing likewise. So, one of the other aspect of my practice is Isabel from South Scotland knows I've been interested in text for some time, and there is from about 1700, Voltaire, French philosopher and comic poet, whatever, historian, worked with anagrams a lot and made up lots and lots of stuff with using words to sometimes, very often, be satirical against the ruling classes. And that he has influenced throughout time, really, since that period, subsequent generations of writers and comics and satirists. And this particular project I worked on, when Isabella told me about Jonathan's work, he writes and writes and writes all the time. He's got this incessant, he writes his name, he has his own coding for a lot of things that he says. But he has, I'll put my money on it, he's got a huge understanding of words, and he can actually vary the meaning. You can read the word and he'll put in odd letters, but you still know what he's getting at. So another, so I go back. Another thing I did, if you just excuse me, I brought part of the samples. This is my own, a couple of pieces of my own work that I've just passed them round. You can have that one, if you'd just like to have a peep at them. These are for people that I had planned to meet in New York, but I didn't get to meet them, so I didn't give them the books. It was basically something I'd read of Voltaire's, where he had taken the person's name and using the person's name could actually make up, very often, deeply satirical, deeply cutting comments about the person's character. But then with a wee bit more investigation into what I found is that by taking, for example, David Kerr's name or Tanya Bonactor or Rene Coppola, you could actually almost, in a sort of jocular way, say, I know things about you. I know what you're like as a person, simply from your name. And French philosophers and judges at some point, would you believe, actually started to make character assessments and probably assassinations over people who would, over their name. So, taking a huge risk, I've met these people, and perhaps these books contain some information and some personality traits of the individual. But the provenance of the idea was that, well, David is interested in text, so here's my contribution to him. I produce these in editions of 3, keep one for myself, give one to the person, and then I kind of archive the other one, hoping that someone will, in the future, may say, well, this is a nice collection of books on folk, slightly biographical. But we did, so we've produced probably somewhere in the region of maybe 50 boats in the last, well, add up the hours, it's in the last 6 hours, 12 hours. And these boats have been left throughout the building. I like that because that's Myra and myself walking into the lift, and I accidentally shot the camera off, and there's something really nice about I've gone all abstract, but I really enjoyed that picture. And it's Myra with her boats. And this boat here is actually, you can see there's text. We were all signing, we're following Jonathan's lead, and we were writing, just kept on writing. So these sheets of paper were then manufactured into more and more boats. And a lot of this, we did go around with and introduce ourselves to staff in other departments and other galleries. Myra positing away her boat underneath the boat house here. And this is today fantastic backdrop. This is the harbour in front of all the city here, the boats sitting parked up. We're back today, and Jonathan, I was working, my computer was out trying to pull together these booklets, and during that time, Jonathan was, I thought I had another slide there, Jonathan was actually started to type in a lot of the text and language of the stuff he'd been scribbling down. He leaves to go on holiday tomorrow, and he was actually writing a description of where he was going. Unfortunately, I've left that upstairs. I didn't have time to print it out. This is David putting his, this is in his father's studios are up in independent studios, so he was leaving some of the traces around his dad's space. This is really terrifying. The fire escape, the top floor, 5th floor, and looking down to the basement, there's probably 6 or 7 levels. And so we decided to start dropping the boats, making the boats fly. So these are actually heading south. There's another one shown up there. This was completely David's idea to drop them over, so it was a nice lead on. And that's really, I've gone from this is the first day. This is what we did the first day we arrived, and these are really just the outputs of all the names. David has, I think is 117 or 118 words or something. His support worker's name was about 300. Myra's was about 300 or 400. And Jonathan's is 5,400 words. So it's strange how that combination of consonants and vowels do promote. My own son, Christopher, his name goes out to 17,000 words. So it's really, and he's not got a particularly long name, but that's where he, I've got a feeling it could be that a lot of his interest in text comes from his name. I don't know. But I think that is actually the last slide. Yes, it is. I didn't want to go on too long because I know there are openings on tonight, but I just thought I'd give this around about 20 minutes, half an hour, and if people wanted to expand ask questions or go away or